the Indie Wrestling Guy with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, Jay Hawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, Jay Gold, and the legendary Charlie Butters.
Welcome to the shit show.
It's a positive day here.
It is. I'm bouncing off the fucking walls because I had a can of Pepsi before we got on, so watch out.
If you can't already tell, he's extremely positive today.
I'm very excited to get that Four Loco fisting koozie and fucking use it on people.
Keep that thing away from me.
No, I gotta pick up my kid from my mom yesterday, and my mom's like, "I've got the case of root beer energy drink. Your brother can't drink them; they're too much sugar. Take them home." I'm like, "Root beer energy drink? Okay, it's just root beer caffeine. It's all fucking in."
Oh, I thought you were going to say your mom was drinking Four Locos.
Right?
Fucking nuts.
That'd be a much better story. Like, it's literally root beer caffeine. Even check on there. Oh, it's a root beer energy drink. No, it's root beer with caffeine.
Yeah. Well, shit.
So our conversation about me just standing around made its way around a little bit. I thought that was a good clip for everybody to hear about. It was really funny. And my joke actually landed with somebody on the that listens. Mr. Two Legs hit me up and he was like, he sent a thing and he was like, that was a Dirty Work reference. And I'm like, yes, it was. I was like, nobody else caught it, but he's like, well, I did. So shout out to you, Two Legs.
Acting. That's how you do it.
The Neo Pro tag match was announced. It will be Sid Von England, or Sydney as he just goes by now, and Zay Garcia, the team of backs, against the unlikely team of our IW Guide champion, Mikey Montgomery and Shelby Wilder. So
I gotta say, the Indie Wrestling Guide podcast single-handedly responsible for keeping Sydney from retiring. Apparently, all he wanted to do was retire. Still getting him going again.
Yep. And I'm gonna keep that going, man. I love Sid. He's one of my favorite interviews we've ever done.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have him back on again soon. And I will keep paying him to keep wrestling. He's not allowed to retire until I can't book wrestling shows anymore.
We're sorry, Sid. You're gonna wrestle for until you're 90.
Until you're 90.
That's right. IW Guy's gonna make him do it till he's 90. Oh shit, Sid. Well, dude, you better win some of these matches. So,
I've been working on like what's coming in the future. I've been elbow deep with Neo Pro, talking about venues and trying to get them to come to my area to run so that it's a little bit closer for me. And there's some great venues in this area. And I went and checked out one today, did a walkthrough, everything like that, sent the video over. They're all excited about it. I'm hoping that we end up making that a reality so that we can run in Niles. So I'm really hoping that happens. I've been working on merch all day long with multiple people going back and forth on stuff. So I've been very busy while I'm not really busy, but I'm very busy on my phone doing all kinds of crazy shit. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you're hustling. I haven't seen you hustle like this in a while. So it's good to be positive. We were in
such a holding pattern with Derek for so long, and I love Derek and I love giving him shit on Twitter, but it's like once we get stuff rolling and stuff just started to roll just right, it's no stopping. It was time. It was time to quit sitting back and let's go. So
yeah, I'm glad you're happy about it. I'm glad it's giving you purpose right now.
It has, trust me, I needed this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it's fun to kind of see things. It's fun to see it kind of play itself out, and I like that Mikey is overwhelmed by the size of the belt at this point.
Yeah, he's got to get some promo shots done. I came up with some ideas for some stuff.
Sure.
I'm working on. He's going to be a guest on I think the Wrestling Junkies podcast next week. And in exchange, we're going to try to get one of their people they're friendly with on our podcast.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of a interview exchange.
The Junkies. I was so close to meeting all of them on Sunday, and we missed the main event mixer got postponed. So I was very much looking forward to my first video podcast, but I assume we'll do that again down the line. I think
they were talking about doing another one here this month sometime. So hopefully that happens. I was like, yeah, I'll go to it. And then Jay Gold was very excited about it. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what, Josh, you jump in. I think you'll have a really good time. Your personality is built for something like that. So
Well, I've been talking with Kyle, the guy who runs Off the Mat and kind of runs the whole network. He's a good dude. So I look forward to meeting him, in person and all those guys. Hopefully the junkies at Hell on Earth. So
that'd
we'll
be
see.
great. That'd
Yeah.
be really great to get to meet
Yeah.
up with everybody. Shout out Will. He's been keeping me on my toes with stuff too, always. I guess we could get in normal shout outs.
Sure.
Zach, Andrew, and of course Patty.
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 Patty traveled all the way out to Iowa this week and was going to the Wrestling Hall of Fame out there.
Nice.
And she was very excited about it. She was wearing our hoodie because she said it was very windy out there, but she was wearing our hoodie and she sent me a picture wearing our hoodie. So,
Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome.
shout out to Patty for repping us out in Iowa.
And shout out a real quick one. It's belated because we record early, but to my wife, it's her birthday on the 5th, and we're doing some fun stuff. And don't tell anyone I got her Seinfeld tickets too. So yeah, we're gonna be rocking it out. But shout out to my lady who allows me to keep doing this nonsense.
Shout out to Stephanie who keeps him fed and clothed and
Correct.
presentable
That's
to
right.
the public.
That's right. Yep, and allows me to keep traveling to AI Dub. So
Yes.
gotta respect the lady who supports her husband's hobbies.
Hell
So,
yeah.
yeah. So
All right.
that's what I got.
All right. Let's get into what's on this week.
What's on this weekend?
All right, Jayhawk, I'm gonna go first since you mentioned earlier that you were a little bit down in the dumps for what's on Triller. So everyone
We're skipping Triller this week. I'm going to put it that
okay.
way. But go ahead. And do
All
what
right,
you do.
on
All right.
IWTV on Saturday night, it is Beyond Wrestling presents Pop Culture. Aaron Rourke and Becca, the returning Becca, and the newly married Bear Bronson and Gabby Forza. So that should be a fun match. That is almost an entire Long Island Creative Pro lineup right there.
I don't know how it is, but Becca is constantly in my Instagram feed and my Twitter feed. I don't know how or why, but everything she's done is constantly in my feed. So I've been following that for a year now. So it's really wild.
She's finally back. I feel like she's been gone for 2 years. And then also the IWTV Independent Wrestling Tag Team Championship Fresh Air, the champs versus the Brick City. I think, is it Brick City Boys? Brick City? Do they go by just Brick City now? Anyway, Kristara versus Paris Van Dale, Katrina Creed versus Spike, and TJ Crawford versus Armani Chaos. It's not a terrible show. It sounds like a fun show for that main event alone. So everybody check that out if you're around on Saturday night.
All right. Also on Saturday night, also on IWTV, it is going to be an 8 p.m. Eastern start. ICW No Hold Barred, Volume 65. The American Deathmatch World Champion Attica Kogar defending against Thomas Hyde in the main event. Tommy Vendetta against Low Mean Kathleen. Dr. Redacted against Alex Stretch. Hoodfoot against Otis Kogar. Bev against Jimmy Lloyd. And MM3 against Gabriel Sky. Well, that's actually not a bad lineup either if you're into the ICW No Hold Barred product.
By the way, speaking of wrestling, shout out to our boy Darable Dog, who went viral this week on Twitter out of nowhere, doing some stupid handshakes.
Yep.
So good, good for banter and everything else with his shoot name and whatever else they're doing. I thought is he at Disney?
That was my impression.
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he's still out there. I don't think he's back yet.
God bless that kid. Good for you for going viral for some nonsense.
And here is your weekly reminder to watch 880 Wrestling Thursday Night Fights on YouTube at 8 p.m. You can search for 880 Wrestling or IndieWrestling.us. That's the INDY version of Indie Wrestling. I believe the big match on that show is Mikey Montgomery and Keith Hott, aka Sonic Boom, going against Marco Narciso and Blizzy Blake of Den of Desire. The winner of that match will get a tag team title shot on the show that's before Thanksgiving, their pre-Thanksgiving show on Wednesday. And that would be against the tag team champions System Elite, Edric Everhart and Ty Cross.
I'm way behind.
So-
I don't know who. I don't think I've ever seen either one of those dudes. So that'll be interesting.
I've been working with those dudes for years. So
Yeah, I watched.
okay.
I watched Thursday Night Fights last week. Actually, it was at a haunted house. Really great setup, really fun. They actually had a lot of names on it. Hoodfoot wrestled in on there. Who else wrestled? There was a bunch of names on there that wrestled. A couple big female names. I'm probably getting yelled at right now. Toddy's probably yelling at his stereo right now. But there's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people
Yelling at his high fidelity right about now.
It was a big deal. So shout out to them. Check that out. It was a lot of fun. They also have like costumes on. Then the Desire was dressed up as Team Rocket, which was great. Future dates: Neo Pro November 23rd in Canton, Ohio. AIW November 29th, Black Friday in Eastlake, Ohio.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And ETU December 1st to Ridgefield Park, New Jersey.
I'll be there too. Fuck yeah, it's a wrestling weekend.
So check that all out. And it's time now to ask Pedro anything. So let's get him in here.
Doing interviewing.
All right, this week it's Ask Pedro Anything. He's back, and we let you ask all the questions this week.
And he's back, and he doesn't have to go running and dealing with a tournament and a bunch of fucking people that are just annoying him and everything else. He's relaxing at home tonight.
Well, my son is not in bed yet, so that could change very quickly.
My daughter's not either, so she might come down here and poke her face in because that's what she does when we're down here. But yeah, all right, Butters, unload.
All right. Okay, let's see. Where do I want to start? Okay, can y'all ask Pedro about the feud and eventually hardcore street fight he had with Patrick Hayes in Vicious Outcast Wrestling in 2015? And can y'all ask him if he has any other fun stories he can share from his time at VOW? That's from True Prince of Pro.
And we saw some pictures of you, Pedro, maybe video of you in some kind of death match. So you got to kind of fill us in on that.
Yeah, well, I felt like death afterwards, that's for sure. I can't really remember how we got to me fighting Patrick Hayes in a street fight. This was around 2015 when I, retired for 2 months, and I had kind of gave my notice to VOW that I was going to be leaving very shortly because my wife was very pregnant at the time, and I guess this was their way of writing me off the show. I ended up in a street fight with Patrick Hayes, and Butter sent me the video earlier, and right off the bat, the body slam on the skating rink floor was the dumbest thing I've ever done, possibly. It instantly blew out my back. I can remember laying on the roller skating rink floor telling Patrick Hayes, I need time. I just completely blew out my back. And this is like 30 seconds into the match. And then kendo sticks, they suck. I don't recommend anyone getting hit with a kendo stick. And if you watch
Pedro, I did read somebody said kendo sticks are the worst thing that ECW gave to wrestling.
I will willingly concur with that. Yes. And if you notice in those clips that Butters has, Patrick Hayes beat the crap out of me with that kendo stick, and he only took one shot with the kendo stick. So I want everyone to notice that in that video that I only got one shot on Patrick Hayes. I wish I could find, well, of course you guys aren't showing the video, but I wish I could find the pictures of the aftermath of that match, because I had kendo stick size welts all over the back of my head, my back, my arms, everywhere. There was a point in that match where I'm laying on the canvas and I look out. My wife was about 8 months pregnant at the time. And I look out at my wife and I look down at the canvas and I'm like, you're a married man. You have a home. You're about to have a child. You've had a pretty successful wrestling career. Why are you doing this? This is the dumbest thing you could have ever done in your life. And the worst part about it was, after all of that, I still had like a 3.5-hour drive home with these gigantic welts all over my back and head, and it was just a miserable drive home. And because our match was like right before intermission, I just wanted to go home because I felt horrible. And they were like triple parked in the parking lot. I couldn't even get out, so I had to wait like another hour before I could even leave. It was just horrible.
Pedro, can I ask you? I don't know if this was already asked, so you can tell me I'm a schmuck if I did. Who trained you again?
Well, actually, I guess if you really wanted to talk about, I used to do get out of here, cat. See, this is what's going to happen. There's going to be a cat that jumps in every once in a
It
while.
happens to Butters too. It's all good.
I used to do a little promotion every Tuesday night. Jared, you were there.
Yep.
Real Action Pro Wrestling at the Shamrock. And every Tuesday before the shows, I would roll around in the ring with the gentleman professionally known as Lars Rockney. I would roll around with Eddie Insane, and just having watched wrestling for so many years, I just kind of like pick stuff up. I did wrestle in high school. I wasn't very good. I wasn't any good. I'm not going to try to act like I was some badass in high school because I was not. But it was just, as a ring announcer for so many years, I'm a visual learner, so I picked up on things. I kind of learned the tricks of the trade that way and just kind of applied it. I didn't wrestle that many matches, but the matches I did have, I would say they were passable. I wouldn't say that. I don't think Meltzer's going to rate any of them, but I think they were passable.
Passable's good. That's all you need.
Yeah, I'm a ring announcer, right? It's supposed to be able to put on technical classics and be Will Ospreay out there. I should just be able to just a guy.
If you do find those vault photos, we can share them on Twitter so people can see.
Okay. I know I have them somewhere because it was horrendous, and my wife took great pleasure in taking all those pictures.
How did Prince of Pro Matt? How did he get that video? How did he even figure that out?
No idea. He's been a big fan for a long time. So like he was the first one to respond to that. He was the first one to respond, man. He had it loaded. He was ready for it.
And honestly, that's the first time I've ever seen any footage of that match.
Where was that again? What was the location of that?
Vicious Outcast Wrestling.
But what state was that in?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a roller rink / hockey rink somewhere in Pennsylvania, which I know that doesn't help any at all. They love hockey out there, but
yeah,
if I would do some digging, I could probably find out where it was. But
I'm actually trying to see if I can find it. I'm not sure if I can.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'm going to move on to the next question here because we got a bunch. So Rosie the Ref wants to know what signature or signatures that you have are you most proud of in your famous book?
Signatures in my see in the purely in the book, I guess it would be Ric Flair, because that's probably like the biggest name I've ever rang announced for. And it's just kind of cool that I got a bro hug in the middle of the ring, and there's a picture and video footage of me getting this bro hug from Ric Flair in the ring. Personally, it obviously, you guys know it's going to be Demolition.
Nice.
I've got Demolition Smash, as many people know, is my all-time favorite wrestler. I would go to my grave as Demolition Smash being my favorite wrestler. I just love the face paint. I love the leather-studded vests and the hockey mask, all of it. Demolition is what made me become a major. Well, I'll say Demolition was what made me a wrestling fan, but if I'm going to be 100% honest, the first guy I ever saw wrestling was Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and I got in trouble many, many times for like cutting up sweatpants to make it look like his fringy tights that he had. So I guess Brutus Beefcake would be the first, but Demolition Smash is what solidified my love of pro wrestling.
So, but do you have a Kiss Demon in Asia signed picture that I found in a drawer the other day?
I don't have a Kiss Demon, but do you remember the old, I think it was 99 Topps WCW cards that had the autographs in them and they're like super ultra rare or something like that?
Yeah.
I have, I just lost my earpiece. I have the Asia signed card from that set.
I got some of these right here.
No. Those are the 91 Impels.
Yeah.
I'm talking 99 Topps. I mean, everybody had an autographed card in it. I mean, you could get from Lodi to Asia to Ric Flair to Hogan. Like everybody was in this set.
Nice. I don't remember that set.
If you look up 99 Topps autographed WCW cards, and you'll be shocked at what they are online. I mean, they are outrageously priced.
I bet. I don't remember getting any of those.
I did find the match with Patrick Hague, and we got the Ice Mine in Connellsville, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
The Ice Mine?
Yes.
All right.
Speaking of collectibles, though, Ronald Two Legs wants to know what's your most prized collectible, not most valuable, but the one he just likes the most regardless of price. And also tell him I love him very much. He's the best ever.
All Ronald. I love you too, buddy. Before I get into that, quick sidebar on Ronnie Two Legs. Ronnie Two Legs is a very special person to me because he keeps me sane on AIW show days. He usually I'm the first one there, and he takes great pride when he can beat me to the building, and he's constantly checking up on me and just keeps me sane on show days. So big shout out to Ronald Two Legs. As for my favorite piece in my collection, it is a ring worn signed demolition mask. I bought off of a promoter in New Jersey. He brought them in, and those guys have gotten rid of all their stuff by now. And he had these masks specially made. They're really sweet. They got the spikes on them and everything. With the big leather things that cover up the back of their head. And if you look really closely inside the mask, you can see that it was smashed at work because you can see the lines from his face paint in it. And both of them signed it. So it's a really cool piece. And then I have a belt that I bought off a former Cleveland area pro wrestler, Tony Paradise. It was his belt. It was the Great Lakes Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Championship. And I think he was like a personal trainer at Black's Health World. And so any of the guys that came into the gym to work out, he would get them to sign this belt. And on the back, I mean, it's signed by everybody from Flying Brian Pillman to El Gigante to Harley Race, Raven, Sab. I mean, Triple H is on. I mean, there are so many signatures on it. And he ran into some trouble and needed some money, and he sold it to me for like $250, and it's in this nice showcase right as you walk into my wrestling collectibles room. So those are probably my two personal backstory ones. But I mean, I got some other stuff. Like I have Dory Funk Jr.'s Texas Broncos coat from New Japan hanging in my in my collection. Yeah, you really got to watch eBay because there used to be this company. They would just go in and they would have these arrangements with wrestlers, and they would just like buy up all their gear and then sell it for dirt cheap on. They would put it up, and if you were fast enough, like as soon as it came out, you could get like I think he only paid $300 for this coat, and it's signed by Dory Funk. And I mean, I've gotten a couple things like I've got a bruised beefcake. I think it was when he was with Hogan at WrestleMania 9. It's his red and yellow armband, and I've gotten quite a few things from this company, like a Bushwhacker Luke, ring worn shirt. Just a bunch of stuff from these guys, but they go really, really quick. Like you've got to be watching for this stuff when it gets on eBay or it's gone.
Up next from Porter O'Shea, he would like to know if you could pick 4 people for a carload to travel to WrestleMania 41, who are you picking and why? They can be living or no longer with us, friends, legends, etc.
Oh, I like that question.
Then it'll be Demolition Smash for one.
Is that Barry Darso?
That's Barry Darso, man.
You want to hang out with Barry Darso?
I want to hang out with Barry Darso. Is like the greatest human being ever. I've met him multiple times now, and every time it's just been awesome to just talk to that guy. Let's see. I know who I wouldn't take. It would be Jake Clemens because all he does is fall asleep on car trips.
We've heard some stories from our Fresh Meat series about these guys.
Oh yeah. Jake Clemens, yeah, he's well known for falling asleep in the back seat with a chicken sandwich in one hand and an orange Gatorade in the other. And he knows the story I'm talking about. He's listening. Let's see. Tom Dunn. I would take Tom Dunn because Tom Dunn, he always wants to meet at my house. We always ride to shows together just because. I mean, there are times he's closer to the show and he will still come to my house and we'll ride to shows together. That's just our time to talk about the old times and just catch up on stuff. So it'd be Barry Darso, Tom Dunn, 2 more. See, I didn't ride with a lot of guys because I was just that weird ring announcer guy. I wasn't one of the boys.
Well,
so
give us who like dream rides.
Living or dead. So
yeah,
I mean, it could be.
No, it would be Barry Darso, Tom Dunn. Let's throw Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect in there because what a crazy 3 Minnesota boys and 2 Ohio boys. What a crazy ride that would be. So yeah, we'll go with that. Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, Barry Darso, and Tom Dunn.
That is some car. You're gonna have to get a rather large, probably a more than a CRV, maybe a Honda Pilot to go on a trip
my
like
Silverado seats 6, so I think we can cram everybody.
Yeah, I can make that happen.
I've had car rides of 6 guys in my wife's Dodge Charger. So, or no, it was a Charger. No, what's the big Charger or Challenger? Which one's the bigger one? Charger. Yeah, it was 6 guys in a Charger. That's how we got there.
I went with six guys from the ETU guys to Richfield Park from Long Island. There were six of us in Andrew's little car, and that was some day. I had to like drive with my head out the window. I had to sit in the back seat next to Lewis. Oh, Butters, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Lewis stinks. No, he's really, but we just say he does. Porter O'Shea's other question is, why do you tell Malcolm Cambridge that he's bigger than Batista?
This is a quote from me that I told Malcolm Cambridge he was bigger than Batista. Okay, so I met Batista years, like right when he was he was about to break away from Evolution, and I was so disappointed in how small he was. So
Really?
I'm like, yeah, like you see him on TV and you think he's just this gigantic monster, and here he is sitting at this Toys R Us in Cleveland somewhere, and I'm like, that's not Batista. He's too small. It was him, but no, I don't have to recall telling Malcolm Cambridge that
I thought it was a joke saying that Malcolm Cambridge is a giant dick because that's the joke is that Batista has a giant dick.
Well, I thought you meant by bigger, like more popular, because then you would be right. He definitely is
no
more
idea.
popular than Batista.
Hey, Blue Tista was over, man. Blue Tista was over.
He was for a hot minute, yeah.
Malcolm Cambridge is over.
Another guy like that who wasn't as big as you would have thought was Lex Luger.
I've never got to meet Lex, so I'm not sure about that one. But there's been quite like Kane. I expected Kane to be a lot bigger.
I don't know, Pedro. When I met Hall and Nash, they were monsters, just monsters. But Hall too. Scott Hall was like this wide, like he was all sorts of big.
The first time I met Nash, he was still wrestling. He wrestled for PWO at one of the Resolutions, and I walked into his dressing room, and his arms were bigger than my thighs. I'm like, how is this dude humanly possible? This is the largest human being I've ever seen in my life.
That dude, huge. And then the other guy that I met,
his muscles were all in his arms. That's why he would tear his quads. But
I don't know, man. He had some pretty big legs too. I can't lie.
Well, he said he wasn't a leg guy. That's why he wore pants all the time.
I was surprised Scott Steiner was so short. He always was so jacked up and everything. And I met him at WrestleCon in 2019. He was not as big as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. They do some amazing things with their camera angles or something. There's a lot of guys that it's just like, and then there's like Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona.
Yeah. But Brian Myers is huge too. And Brian Myers, when he comes out at Create a Pro, his body is just so much bigger than everyone else's.
Like the first time I met Matt Cardona, I'm just like, why are you not still there? Like, you're the biggest dude I've seen in a long time. I just don't understand it. Maybe that's why he's not there. He's too big.
There's something about the amount I don't even know how you're like, when I met Mick Foley, his head was bigger than my body. Like he was huge for a guy who was like, oh, he wasn't big back then. And then you see him and you're just like, this dude's hands, his head, everything is just wide.
There's just certain people like that too, though. Cause like I remember way back at like my first, well, it's probably my second indie show for Midwest. Pedro, you were a ring announcer then for that show. But when I met Ricky Shane Page for the first time, like his hands were gigantic compared to mine. And I'm like, we were like, I think we're roughly around the same age, maybe a couple years difference, but still his hands were just massive compared to mine. I'm like, I think it's just a certain thing with wrestlers, man.
When you lift so much, that becomes like your hands just get so big and everything just gets so big. It's nuts.
Okay. Up next is our buddy Zach. He wants to know, I would love to know how Pedro handles criticism when it comes to either himself or AIW.
I don't know. Maybe you guys know something I don't know. I've never really gotten any criticism of myself for my ring announcing. I mean, other than this, we can't hear you because the sound system sucks. I mean, that happens quite a lot. But I had a meeting with Kevin Kelly one time, and he told me, your voice is great, your presentation is great, I love everything about you, but you need to lose 100 pounds, get rid of the mole on the side of your head, get rid of the scar over your eyebrow, and get hair plugs. So basically change everything about myself, but my voice is good. Cool. Awesome. When it comes to criticism from AIW, it depends on what the criticism is. Every wrestling promotion that I've ever worked for is different in some way. So you can't compare them, or it's more contrasting than it is comparing. Just like right now, AIW would be considered a super indie, I would say. I work for Ohio Championship Wrestling. I would say they're more of a Southern style family promotion. Neo Pro, which I do occasionally work for, they are more of a hybrid style of, family friendly slash super indie. Um, Old wrestling obviously is a throwback. It's definitely family friendly. So I will listen to the criticisms. If they're valid, I will make a mental note of it and try to improve it. I there's not really much I can do for like in ring or storylines. I mean, I'm pretty much just the guy that scans the tickets, takes the money, and makes the seating charts and that kind of stuff. But any criticism, I do try to handle it right then and there if it's valid. But unless there was like a specific example, I don't know how I can answer that truthfully.
Have you ever thrown any fans out yourself, or had to have any issues with the fan? I mean, recently it's not as prevalent. Fans don't really misbehave like that. But can you remember anything when you were like starting out, or even in the last maybe 10 years, where you're like, this dude is going to be a problem?
Yeah, well, I can kind of like if I'm announcing a show, I can look out like during the show or at times in the show because if you really pay attention when I'm ring announcing a show or if I'm in the building or like in the main part, not like where I'm at the door running the door or whatever, but if I'm in the arena during the matches, I am constantly scanning the crowd, looking, okay, is there going to be a problem somewhere, or is there a looming threat? In days past, yes, there has been times we've had to kick people out. We were up at, it used to be the Funky Frog. It's not the Funky Frog anymore. It's up by Geneva. There was a guy, Rockstar Spud, who was wrestling, and a guy jumped the rail, and we had to pull him out and throw him out. Back in the old days, Jake Christ booted a dude off the ring apron. I mean, I've never seen a bruise form on somebody's face so fast. This dude had the perfect boot print of Jake Christ, going way, way, way back. We were in Mulberry's, and some fans started throwing chairs into the ring, and like we had a full scale riot. Like the locker room emptied, and like the man that would go on to become Michael Tarver in WWE, he's chucking people out the door. TJ Dynamite's doing spears off the guardrail, like shoot spears on people. It was crazy, but
Holy shit!
yeah, back in the old days, it got a little wild sometimes. But no, and this is something I can go even say to the buildings now, and then we're trying to run. It's like we police our own crowds. We don't need a big contingent of the building staff there. We even when we were at Temple Live, their bouncers were like, "Wow, you guys really police your crowd and take care of all the issues. We're basically it's an off night for us." So our fans are great. It's been a really long time since we've, knock on wood, had an issue with fans or anything of that sort.
Yeah, you don't see that as much anymore. There's one or two dopes, it's at shows, but it's not like it probably was years ago.
No. And our fans are so they're just happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're so supportive. Luckily with me running the door and making these seating charts and looking on the Eventbrite and seeing these names come up, and in the early days when I would make the seating charts, I would have to learn who all the groups of friends were to make sure they were all sitting together and try to get. So I've really gotten to learn a lot of fans by name. So I don't want to sound cliche, like we're all one big family, but I do know these people now.
Yeah.
The last show we had at the Tadmore, the Maramers came in, and I hadn't seen them in a long time, and I was so happy to see them because you never notice something happened to that family. Was there a family tragedy or something? So it was so awesome to see them, and I told them as much, and they all kind of looked at me like, "How did you know our name, first of all, and like you remember us?" But yeah, I remember my staples. Like I know who. Like I can go back and look back and say, okay, we haven't seen these individuals in a couple shows, or this is the Akron crew, this is the Cleveland crew, this is the Winchester crew. I take notice of the trends and who's there and who's not there.
Sure. Butters, sorry about that.
Zach also asked if there was any lessons that you have taken from wrestling and applied to your life outside of wrestling.
keep your head on a swivel because you never know where it's coming from. You just never know. Back in the old days before we had Patty and Jeremy, I was the ring announcer, I was the medic, I was the human resource officer, I was just a little bit of everything. So, I luckily in my shoot job at the time, I was like first aid trained, I was CPR certified, I was, this, that, and everything else. So I've applied real life to wrestling, and I've applied wrestling to real life in multiple different aspects. I can look at a situation, say something around the house breaks. Okay. Well, if I was at a wrestling show, how would I fix this? Or how, there's just so many, I can't even pinpoint an example. It's just, there's so many things, you have to have a bit of customer service when you're running the door. You have to have, you can't be gloom and doom all the time. You've got to welcome people in. You got to make them feel comfortable. You got to make them feel accepted. You got to make them feel happy. You want to, as they're filing out, you want to kind of get the temperature of the room. Are they happy when they're leaving? Or are they mad? Or where did we? Perfect example of this. The at J-Lit, where the
Pedro.
Oh, sweet Jesus,
Pedro.
How the hell did that just happen?
Hell, dude.
I don't
I
know.
felt
I don't
it.
know.
I felt it in the universe
my God.
that Pedro was on the IW God again.
I was about to make a very good point too.
Yeah,
I'm
we were
sorry.
getting there.
Here, go to your point real quick. I'll wait in silence.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So perfect example before this happened. At J-Lit, we had Jack Swagger doing a meet and greet.
Yeah.
And as I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, I heard somebody say, it's really dark over there. And it never even dawned on me that, okay, maybe we need to fix that. So I run over and I discover a new set of lights that I didn't even know existed in the Tadmor. We kicked them on and the meet and greets came out better. And so then I got on the mic and I said, hey, if you had gotten a meet and greet with Jack Swagger and your picture's dark, come back and we'll do it again. So it's just, you've got to adapt on the fly and figure stuff out.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this Shelby thing.
Pedro. See, I
Sure.
can be patient and wait and listen. It was a good point. I don't know what it was, but I know I'm not in your house. I promise. Don't come downstairs.
Why is that a steel cage behind you? What is behind you?
If some of my, don't be judging my walls. Look, I'm good. There's a Joker poster. Leave me alone, Pedro. Don't judge what I have.
I don't even know what's happening right now. He just
I don't
popped,
either.
he popped up
Shelby
like his
Wilder is a
phone.
hacker. That's what happened. I
All right,
hacked the system.
Shelby, do you have a question for the?
Yeah,
the
do you have a
Ask
question?
Pedro?
Yeah,
Pedro?
ask Pedro anything. So
Will you be my manager?
No.
yes, come on, Pedro.
Absolutely
It's
not.
either that or I seen on the Twitter machines or X, it's either manager or you wrestle me, Pedro, because I seen that.
See, if you would have joined in earlier, you would know that I'm never wrestling again. So
Well,
Well, now you got to be his manager then, I guess.
yeah, you've signed your fate contract. This is recorded live in Studio H.
I thought you had Mr. Peaches for that.
I have Mr. Peaches.
I thought you got your sage
Well, you
advice
have to
from
hold Mr. Peaches and keep him in line. That's
I
how
think,
that's how you're going to manage.
I think Mr. Peaches needs a metal rod instead of a wooden rod going up his head. You might need a metal rod.
Rod. That's a purebred body.
Right. Sorry.
What? Well, I haven't seen you in forever, and you're gonna metal rod my horse? Pedro, do you hear this
Shelby.
shenanigans?
I recall that the whole reason there needs to be a metal rod is because you wanted me to wrap him in barbed wire.
No, I didn't have you wrap him in barbed wire. He tried to get out of the stable and went through the fence and got wrapped up in it. You didn't wrap
Oh
him
my
up. You don't
God.
even like to touch Peaches.
I don't like to touch Peaches, and especially after the incident where you ate candy out of my hand.
Not a horse guy, huh, Pedro?
No.
No, he's terrible with Mr. Peaches. Mr. Peaches always acts crazy until he gives him a sugar cube. And,
What
you know,
the fuck is happening?
I don't know.
Is there ADHD medication in that sugar cube?
ADHD medic. Listen, I'm sorry that I felt a disturbance in the universe because Pedro was doing
There's a
something
disturbance in the
without me,
force.
and you know, I just
Tell
like
me,
to
what do
make sure-
Shelby, what do you think about this match coming up with you and Mikey Montgomery against Bax
You know
over at
what?
NeoPro?
I don't like that British bastard.
Mm,
Zay was all right, and then I don't know. He's been corrupted.
yeah.
Now he's kind of a bully, and that makes sense. His nickname's Bully of the Bodega, Doc Ock, And Mikey, I thought we were cool, but like he shoved me. I went to just pick up a title that I rightfully was holding on to for a little bit, and he told me I didn't win it. So like I have Mikey's back because Mikey's a good guy. I'm looking forward to teaming with Mikey. Mikey's one of the best. He had a good interview on here.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
And, we'll see what happens down the line. But right now, I'm just focusing on helping my good buddy Mikey. Maybe
As
Pedro,
a
are you
promoter,
going to be there?
it's now my goal to get Pedro to be your manager.
Pedro, are you going to be there at Neo Pro?
I have been invited. I have not been booked, but I've been invited.
Oh,
So we'll see.
so he has his manager's
I say
license
this.
ready. Yeah.
Here's what I recommend. IW guy, no matter what, the announcer is Pedro DeLuca.
Just like the referee is always going to be Jayhawk from now on.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that, but I just want Pedro around me at all times. And if it means he's announcing me out to the ring, I'm all for it.
Shelby, by the way, Jayhawk promised us that he'll take one power bomb each match.
I'm
No,
just
I never did that.
Wait, you're here. Jayhawk's here.
Yeah.
You haven't laughed once or nothing. Like you're not. What are you doing?
Jayhawk has good taste.
He sits there and shakes his head.
Are you in prison?
I feel like
I keep saying I'm going to decorate the coffin,
Yes.
and I never decorate
Pedro,
the coffin.
I
I'm too
agree.
fucking lakey for that shit.
Let's put a poster up, like some Christmas light. It's the holidays.
I'll put.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
I need to
That's
put
the
my
guy
Hall
with
of
the
Fame
ghillie
plaque
suit hanging on the wall
right
behind him.
up here, but
Something.
Huh? Like
What-
look at Jay Golds. He's got all the posters.
This is
And you
my,
have a
this is my
ghillie suit hanging
gym.
behind you.
Yeah.
There's a curtain on my window because the sun comes in, Pedro.
Should
and
get some
people start to
shades.
peek in and look at me.
You know, they use shades in the Wild West too. You could get some shades, curtains.
That's a high quality curtain drape made in 1985. That's older than you, sir.
All right,
It is
Shelby.
not.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right.
I will
Shelby,
see
good to
you
see you,
at
brother.
Neo Pro.
See y'all in Neo Pro.
See you
Pedro,
hell on earth.
Pedro, you're the best. You are.
I try.
Yeah, you keep doing good things. IW guys' numbers went up on your last episode, so I expect more this
Hell
time.
yeah.
I'm a
Pedro,
ratings draw.
Yes.
Pedro.
Pedro
Can
is
you-
ratings.
Can you do me a favor? The one
Yes.
thing I really like that I see now on Facebooks
Facebook's
is your post about your autographs that you have about people that you got to work with in the past. I think you should let the fine folks at IW Guide and the people who listen about some of those posts and interactions with them because it is very interesting to me.
Well, the comments are open, so I mean, if
Yeah.
anybody wants to post a comment, they can.
Yeah, well, yeah, but just it's a cool little thing you started doing, and I really like it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
Way to end on a good note.
On a
I'm
good
gonna
note.
go
All
see
right.
Peaches. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's interview. I'll
Thank you,
see you around.
Shelby.
IW Guide Rookie of the Year, 2 years in a row coming up.
that's
right.
not how it works, Shelby.
I think it is. Enjoy. Hey, see y'all later. Good time.
Bye,
Max,
Shelby.
Bye,
Bye.
Shelby.
Bye, Shelby.
That's the greatest ever. Sorry, Pedro. I had nothing to do with it, man. It wasn't me.
I
Oh,
was just
shit.
clicking buttons. I didn't know what happened.
Clicking buttons.
Pedro,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. Since you are, besides the fact that your stories, you've seen so much. What right now? Who's your favorite indie wrestler right now? Do you watch a lot of indie wrestling, or are you just like done with that and like just you don't
No,
watch
I
you don't watch the TV stuff, do you?
Oh, I watch everything. I mean,
Okay.
I watch every. My DVR's full every. My time to get to watch wrestling is usually as my son's getting ready for school.
Mhm.
So, but I watch Monday Night Raw. I watch Impact. I watch all the AEW shows, SmackDown, New Japan. I watch it all. But now that you say that, I think that's one of the big reasons why it's just kind of background noise now, is because I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
Like if you were to say, who's your favorite WWE wrestler? I mean, I guess I would say CM Punk, but the only reason I would say CM Punk is because I got to see him in 2000 wrestling for JT at Cleveland All Pro Wrestling. And the first time I saw that guy, I'm like, that dude's going to be a star. And I've just followed his career ever since. But like, there's really, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I mean, Kevin Owens maybe just because of the personal
What about
personal.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, he's. What about indie wise? Like coming through the doors right now. What do you think is, or even give me who you think is like the guy right now?
That'd be kind of unfair to say because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I have a lot of kids in independent wrestling.
Right.
Um, and if I would leave somebody out, I don't want to would I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or like, oh, Pedro didn't talk about me or it's kind of like the Jim Ross thing with the Ross report. If I don't mention somebody, somebody's going to get hurt. But I mean, there's so much talent out there, and especially with this new WWE indie thing they're putting out there, it's kind of scary because how many of these guys are going to get snatched up now? It's it was you just had to worry about okay. AEW is bringing all these guys in for dark matches and AEW Dark and Elevation and all this stuff, and then now WWE is kind of doing the same thing, and it's like it could get real hard to do an independent show here real
Yeah,
soon.
but Pedro, it's the same thing, or are they saying to somebody like, "Hey, we like you, but you have to be in one of our designated schools"? Is that what it is?
I'm not real sure yet. I haven't seen everything yet. It'd be really unfair for me to make a comment on that because I don't know all the answers to that. I just know that there's so much talent out there, but there's not like that sure thing, if that makes sense. Back in the day when Ring of Honor was getting going, there was the Christopher Daniels, there was the Brian Danielsons, there was the AJ Styles of the world, there was the Adam Pearce, so
Samoa
many
Joe.
guys.
Yeah.
There were so many guys like, oh, this guy's going to be the next big thing. And I don't know if it's because AEW snatched so many guys up that we didn't have that, that weight. Just like when we were trying to put together the JT Lightning Invitational, you're trying to find a hot indie name to bring in there, but there's like nobody left, besides our own guys, and not trying to, step on anybody's toes. AIW's got the best talent in the world. I mean, I think we have a fantastic roster, but it's not like it was in the early 2000s where there was this whole contingent of these unbelievable indie wrestlers that you could just pick and choose who you wanted on your shows.
Right.
And there's also so many independents out there that these guys that like the Alec Prices of the world, the Josh Bishops of the world, the Sam Holloways of the world, the Matt Justice of the world. There's so many of these independent shows every weekend now. It's so hard to get these guys now because there's so many independents out there. So I mean, I said I didn't want to name names, but I just named off several there. I would say those are some of the top ones out there. And of course, I have a personal attachment to every single one of them. So I guess that would be my answer is those groups have got some of those guys that I just mentioned, not plus many, many, many more.
Yeah, I think the special feeling of seeing a guy you might only see somewhere else is kind of gone. That's the one thing about having so many indies is that I remember when I first saw Max at one of your shows, I was like, oh, I'll never see him, anywhere else. And then I saw him in like 5 different places, before he signed it. I'm like, oh, you could just see, oh, I could just see this guy, I saw Ares once, and I was like, oh, I'll never see this dude again, for a while. And then all of a sudden he's just on every show in the area.
Right.
So maybe that takes away some of that maybe they're a little overexposed. And that's why, maybe that's the difference. There's so many, there's overexposure risk. I'm not sure.
I don't know that it's overexposure. It's just, there's so many quote unquote super indies now.
Yeah.
That, maybe we don't just realize that, okay, these guys are this generation's Brian Danielson's, Christopher Daniels, et cetera. We're just too close to it now. We don't realize that we're living in this era's Ring of Honor type indie superstars. You know what I mean? So The reason it's not overexposure, it's just everybody recognizes, hey, these are those guys now, and everybody wants them. So that's why you're seeing them on 5 different shows.
Butter, sorry, go ahead.
EVP of Health, Jeremy, has a handful of questions here.
Okay.
First one is, what is your favorite and least favorite part about all your jobs with AIW?
How late I get home would be my least favorite. That's for sure. There's a lot of times it doesn't matter. I live right up the street from the Tadmore. There's still times I don't get home till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning from the Tadmore. I'm an old man. It's getting rough here. My body feels it for the next several days after a show. My favorite, I don't get to watch the shows really. I get to listen to the shows, and whether it's the Tadmore or Temple Live, it was really hard because I was so far away from where the actual arena was running the door there. But when you would hear all those people erupt, you knew something big just happened. And that was really cool because I could be so far away, but still know we were putting on a good show because I could hear the reaction, what was like a quarter mile away from where the actual event was. So that'd be some of my favorite things. And, the term mark gets a bad name, but we're all marks. We all love professional wrestling. And, if you would tell 10, 11, 12-year-old me that, hey, you're going to get to hang out with all these legends that you spent Saturday mornings, eating a bowl of cereal, watching on WWF Superstars. And now, if you would have told me, hey, you're going to have WWE guys' phone numbers in your phone, I would have never believed it. But here I am. I've been very, very, very fortunate that I got to live out a dream. I knew I was never going to be a professional wrestler. I just wanted to be around it. And I got to be a ring announcer for almost 20 years now. So I've gotten to work with so many legends, so many legends that aren't even with us anymore. And that's kind of cool. I always joke. I always ask Michelle Carter and Jose and Wayne Palmer. I always ask for their pictures because, family history dictates to me that I'm probably going to have dementia or Alzheimer's or both. And I have all these photo albums of old shows that I was on or a part of. And I always, my joke is, but it's not really a joke. There's a lot of truth to it. I want to have these pictures. So when I'm sitting in a nursing home in my not too distant future, I'll have these photo albums and all these pictures. Like I did something really cool in my lifetime that not many other people are going to say they got.
Yeah.
How many hours would you say you put into each AIW show?
Well, just today I put in a good solid 6 working on seating charts and writing up note cards to put on the seats and making up the coupons for the meet and greets and staff badges. So, it really depends on the show. Do I have to run to the Restore and get some doors or, go here and get this? There was a point last week I spent all day driving around to every GameStop I could find to try to find Black Taurus figures. So it really depends on the show, but I will say I don't know how I used to work a full-time job and do wrestling because it's kind of become a full-time job, just doing random things to get stuff ready for shows.
And his last question, if you could book any meet and greet guest and IW Guide would pay for it, who would you book?
What the fuck?
Living or dead? Does that work too?
Sure.
I guess if we're booking it, I guess we'll have special powers to bring people back. So,
well, let's just keep with the living then. Even though I'm not like a super mega huge fan of either of these gentlemen. I mean, it'd be cool to meet them, but I would just want to see how awesome it would draw and how big the meet and greet would be. It would be either The Undertaker or Sting, because I think either one of those two would be the greatest meet and greet ever, just because it's really hard to get those guys for a meet. And
I think Josh can afford to bring in Sting. I don't know if we want to bring in Taker, but we could definitely bring in Sting. I'd be
Sting with face paint or Sting without, because there's 2 prices there.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
We got to do with because my old boss at my old job, I'd have to make him come and actually meet Sting because he would never do it otherwise. So I was paying for it. He'd have to come meet him in face paint.
Yeah, because face paint's way higher than just Steve Borden and sunglasses. So.
Josh is loaded. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh, sure I am. Yes.
I wouldn't mind Kane coming in either. Kane would be.
Yeah, I mean, he has
I'd
to
want
wear
him
the
with
mask
the fake hair and the
thing.
mask. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. I don't want Governor Glenn. I want
No.
Kane.
Exactly. You
And,
want
and
the
he
whole
has to
red
talk
and
with
black.
the voice box. Then,
Yes.
Yeah.
Give him
the
stay
whole
in
gimmick.
character.
Now, okay, if that could happen, yes, that's the one I want. I want voice box Kane. Yes.
Yep. Got to stay in character.
The next question is from referee Tom Dunn.
Oh.
And he wants to know, how fun was the pull apart brawl when Barely Legal imploded? I was sick and couldn't breathe. I've never been that gassed in the ring before or after.
Okay, so people might not even know who Barely Legal was, and
I
it's
don't.
kind of fun.
So
It's kind of funny that he asked this question, and Shelby was talking about the posts I make on Facebook, the before they were famous, I just did Aaliyah. So Barely Legal was Aaliyah, Jasmine, who became Aaliyah in WWE, and Alexia Nicole. They were fixtures of our Girls Night Out shows. And when Jasmine, who became Aaliyah, got signed, her last act with AIW was they had this the team disintegrated and they had this big wild pull apart cat fight, and me and Tom Dunn were the ones doing the pulling apart. So it was straight out of an ECW cat fight where they're rolling all over us, and it's the most ridiculous thing. Me and Tom can't stop laughing, and they can't stop laughing because it's the most ridiculous thing ever. And yeah, that's one of those that when I got the DVD of it, I had to strategically watch it so the wife wouldn't see it. So,
oh boy,
there was a lot of rolling around in that one.
All right. Anybody have any other questions before we get to the final set of questions?
I'm good for now.
I'm good.
Okay.
We've had Pedro about an hour, like wrapping up.
Yeah.
Okay. The final set of questions comes from Patty.
Oh no, we're not gonna like.
These are some hard hitting questions. Like
And here she is.
I questioned asking these, so we'll see what happens here.
Okay.
Question number 1.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
What were the main differences between Chandler and John as a promoter?
Man, this is gonna get me eat.
What was
the question? Say it again.
What were the main differences between Chandler and John as promoters?
Oh.
John is very stoic. He doesn't say a whole lot. Chandler, it was like clockwork. I would get a text on Thanksgiving. I mean, obviously Chandler and I texted all the time, but I would always get a very special thank you text on Thanksgiving about how much Chandler appreciated everything I did, even when this was just in the ring crew, ring announcer days. Very, very emotional, heartfelt thank yous from Chandler every Thanksgiving. I think that's the thing that stands out the most, was just how appreciative and how Chandler he would make you feel special. John, like I said, I don't want this to sound like John's a jerk and doesn't appreciate anything, or never has a good word to say about anything. But Chandler was like the customer service representative for the company, and John was the CEO, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That's cool. I like that answer a lot.
The next question is, how did your role change with AIW when Chandler passed?
So I was quote unquote retired. I was coming back in occasionally, especially with like the Girls Night Out shows or just random shows that like Steve Guy couldn't do. I would come in and ring announce here and there. But largely I was, besides doing remix down in Marietta and an old wrestling here and there, I was basically kind of out of wrestling. And when John texted me and said Chandler passed, after I offered my condolences, my first text back to him was, "What do you need?" And it was seconds. He fired back, "Just come back and run the front," which was Chandler's job. And to me, that was a huge compliment, because that meant John trusted me, and I know John trusted me with way more than he probably should. I'm not saying I'm a bad person, but it's sometimes scary how much he trusts me with. And there's even times today where I don't think John even likes me, but he trusts me. So I guess that's a bigger compliment than someone saying they like you, is that they trust you. I have, probably taken on more than I should have, or maybe stepped on some toes, but I saw areas of the company that was failing and knew I could make them better. And I tried to make them better. And I think I have made them better, specifically with getting all of our merch organized, just knowing what we have, doing the seating charts to make sure everybody that paid for front row gets front row or second row or third row, whatever it may be, doing the lanyards for the bigger shows where there's like a premium on the seats, just little things like that. I said in our first interview, I take this job, taking over from Chandler, I take it very seriously, because I know how much he loved AIW, how much he loved independent pro wrestling, and it would kill me to see it fail because this is the only way I can make it up to Chandler is to keep it going and make it successful.
Excellent. Any more from Patty Butters?
That was it.
That's a great answer, Pedro. That was really, really intense. I like that. I understand that completely. It's great.
Well, thank you. As I said in the first interview, anything that I've been able to do or be a part of in professional wrestling, I can attribute to two people. First, JT Lightning, because that's where I met Chandler. And, JT Lightning gave me the stepping stone from like picking up guys at the airport, just hanging out backstage, or getting in early to the Cleveland All Pro shows, to meeting Chandler, and then Chandler saying, "Hey, come check out AIW," and then somehow I weaseled my way in there, and here I am today. But the 600 and some wrestling shows that I've gotten to ring announce, the legends I've got to work with, the memories, the friendships, none of that would have been possible without JT Lightning and Chandler Biggins. And they're 1A and 1B in my wrestling story, because I can't have one without the other.
I'm very happy that we're able to have you on twice now. We wanted this for years now, and I'm happy we made this work. And I want to keep it going, have you on as often as we can, because like you said, you've been around for so long, and I really enjoy listening to you tell stories. You could probably put a comedy act together and do that, and it'd be really fun.
The next one has to be all fucking Pedro Berry's people. That's
Pedro Berry's people.
That's the next one.
See, I can't bury people. I can't bury people because I end up back working for him again. So I can't bury anybody.
He's got to be like 100% out. 100%
I can be 100% out. Like
on his deathbed.
That'll be the shoot interview.
It'll be the Pedro on his deathbed.
Interview to end all shoot interview.
Pedro burns it down. That'll be the
oxygen in his nose. I'll be at his bedside with a recorder, and that's how that one will go.
Shelby sitting next to him, writing it all down. I got you, Pedro.
Oh, he's first on the list that we're going to bury.
Oh shit. Well, thanks, man. I can't wait to see you on Black Friday, and I appreciate how many all the time you've given us the last few shows. So
hey, no
that's
problem.
Awesome.
Nobody's got any more questions, man. I thought we'd have lots more questions than that.
Well,
Malcolm said he wanted to ask questions, and then he never sent me anything. So I don't know. I'm hoping he's saving it for the next one. I'm going to make sure I get as many as I can the next time. I'll save them up, and then we'll
get some more. It's just good to talk to you. I don't get to hear. I'm missing that first interview. I get a chance to at least hear a little bit more of that and like kind of follow up. So,
well, do you have any questions? I mean, they said you wanted to pick my brains.
Well, I didn't know. I even said to the guys before, I didn't know like how much was already like rehashed. I didn't want to go over a million, things, like just hearing where you trained, hearing the stories about Biggins is where I would have went. Hearing your stories about who your favorite wrestlers are, what you grew up on. That's all the questions that I like to, to get into. Like that's past how you get into wrestling is always the most fascinating to me from everyone I speak to. So, hearing that your first guy you saw on TV, he was either Demolition or Brutus Beefcake. That's, that hits me. So that's why I like to hear those kind of stories, and just, I don't know how much, how far back I even can go. I think next time we talk, I'll get some questions as far as, all the way in the beginning of your career. So we'll figure all that out. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of territory because I was just telling Michelle Carter and Jose Rodriguez this past weekend, there was a time I was ring announcing for 17 different promotions in the tri-state area. So, I mean, there wasn't a weekend I wasn't at a wrestling show.
Oh, your tri-state area, not mine. If you said that, I'd be like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. I'll be like, how the fuck did I never run into you?
No, well, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, actually more like a quad area because there was West Virginia, there was Indiana, it was Michigan, it was everywhere. So
I got to tell you, and I say it to, I think everybody that we've had on from your area, from Ohio, I am so fascinated with how so many people, from Jayhawk to Butters to you, talking to Thorne, talking to Two Legs, talking to just all, how many people, like even Stacy and all those guys, how many people got into wrestling, how it felt. It sounds like it was so just there. Like when I was a kid growing up in New York, it was never there. It wasn't like I could just stroll into a fucking wrestling school. I did the ECW stuff, but like that's it. That was like the extent. I wasn't going up to Connecticut.
Okay,
I just can't believe. Yeah,
short answer.
yeah.
Short answer to that is the reason why there's so much in Ohio is because we were a good stopping point from everybody coming from Philadelphia to Chicago and going from Chicago back to Philadelphia. So that's where a lot of this popped up. That's why JT had so many people, because he would get them, Ring of Honor would do their loop in Philadelphia, then they would head west. So Cleveland, just the Ohio area was a great place for these guys to pick up extra work. And, you get these guys in the crowd saying, man, this is something I want to do. They find a wrestling school and boom, that's exactly how it exploded. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating to me. We just didn't have those options over here. It wasn't like, growing up, it wasn't like I can pick, 4 or 5 different places, or even like if I wanted to be a ring announcer, if I wanted to be a referee, there was no place to train. There was, in the late 80s, early 90s, you weren't going to train anywhere in New York.
Oh, honestly, the only reason I'm a ring announcer is because I was in the right place at the right time. I don't think we ever told this. Did we tell the story, Butters?
I think you mentioned it last time. Yeah.
Okay, about how.
Well,
But go ahead. Go ahead. You can rehash.
Okay.
It's all right.
So we were doing this like fundraiser show in Strongsville, and Chuck Roberts couldn't make it, and it just so happened that earlier in the day, Patrick Hayes, shocker, and Kano was in the ring, and we were just kind of goofing around, and I was just like doing Howard Finkel impersonations, and then Chuck Roberts didn't show up, and they're like, "Hey, Pedro can do it," and from behind the curtain, I announced the very first AIW Battle Bowl at this little school in Strongsville. And from there, it just evolved. And because at the time, who was on that show, that's how I kind of exploded on the scene. I started working for Lamont Action Williams in Hard Knock Wrestling. PWO came along, CWE came along, Wasp was the in-ring interviewer for Cleveland All Pro. Just so many things just exploded and snowballed. And then I ended up in IWC, where I learned so much. Working for Chuck Roberts and Norm Connors is probably where I learned the most about ring announcing. It was just so much, just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And I was just in the right place at the right time. There's no other.
With a lot of opportunity, I think. I always feel like there's just there were more opportunities in your area as we were younger to be in the right place at the right time. There was no place for me to be in the right place at the right time, and sometimes I envy that took me this long to even get into like talking about wrestling with people I like podcasting and things like that. I never thought I'd do that either. So like, I find it fascinating that there are those opportunities in the Midwest and where you guys are, that there are so many people who have touched the business. It's just, to me, it is incredible to see how somebody even like, oh, I trained with this guy. Oh, why? Well, how long did you train for? Oh, I don't know, a few months, but we became friends and now I'm doing this. Or, I was able to walk into a ring and I was sitting there. Like, we have Remarkable Wrestling out east, and a friend of mine was like, oh, they didn't have a ring bell guy. So he asked me, I was sitting in the crowd, he goes, you want to ring the bell? It's like, those opportunities were not there when I was younger, so right. I always find it fascinating how you guys have been able to do all that. Even just knowing Jayhawk as like a referee, like, I honestly, it blows my mind, like referee training. I would never have thought of that. So, your stories are incredible. The amount of longevity that you've had just by being in a certain spot at a certain time, to me is fascinating. So yeah, I wish I had like more to like put into words on this one, but yeah. It's cool, and I'm always fascinated by how many people every time we bring up your name can have a story about you. So that's a good way to live, I think.
I hope they're good stories, not bad stories.
Always. I've never heard a bad story about you, Pedro.
Not one person. Not one person has a bad thing to say about you. I think that's pretty good. I think you've lived a good life.
Yeah.
I'm getting cranky in my old age. There's probably some bad stories now.
Join the
Oh, you mean like when I took a picture with you at Toyhio and you just gave me a sad, grumpy look in my photo with us?
And then he charged you $10? Yes.
He tried.
That.
Right.
Yeah. He's not a fourthful of Virgil, though, because he didn't get it money.
Right. Yeah. I gave you a sad face?
You did give me. I'll send you the picture. You gave me a sad face because you were tired. You said you were tired that day. It was like 4
now,
o'clock.
Butters, now it's
Well-
my goal to get a picture with Pedro at Hell on Earth. So I'm going to do it now.
All my pictures, I'm just going to be sad and grumpy in all of them.
Yes,
So.
I'll take it. Yes.
I'm sure he was grumpy. He was sad and grumpy. He took a picture with Shelby at the NeoPro show, and he was.
That one I kind of get though.
That wasn't acting there.
Right. We all kind of understand that one. Yes.
All right.
Well,
plugs?
shit. Yeah,
We got-
Pedro, plugs. What do you
got
got?
any plugs?
Hell on Earth is coming up. Black Friday. Beast Mortos, Donovan Dijak, Tully Blanchard, John Wayne Murdoch, Matt Justice, Alec Price, plus all your favorite AIW wrestling superstars. I think that's the only thing I'm booked for right now.
Do you know the lineup?
OCW.
Do you know who's taking on who on that show?
I have not seen a lineup. That's it, now that it's now November. Now the real hard work starts, and then that's when we have to go to the bank and start making envelopes and that kind of stuff. So,
By the way, Tully Blanchard, my brother said to me, it's the only photo he's going to ever stand online for at AIW is Tully Blanchard. He wants to meet Tully Blanchard so badly.
good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We've been trying for years to get Tully Blanchard acting. Years. So,
Jayhawk, you ever meet him at Cauliflower Alley?
I have Tully Blanchard is one of the few horsemen I have not met. I need to try to save some money up here, money tight right now, but I really want to do that one too. So
you're a card holding member of Cauliflower Alley, aren't you?
Lifetime member, yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Cool.
Hall of Fame referee.
I've put it out in the Twitter sphere. I said that if AIW books Mikey Montgomery against Alec Price 1-on-1, that we would sponsor the match. So
I believe they're both booked on the show, so that
they are. That could definitely happen. Singles, no scramble, just a singles. I think that's and then we'll give some money to certain people, and then it can become a title match. And things
sure.
could happen, right?
AIW is always looking for sponsorships for sponsorship opportunities.
My first wife's cousin has been working with Dustin to put some sponsorship in there. He's got a one of them weed companies down in North Carolina. My cousin Richie, we'll see what happens there. But
is it Dustin at AIWrestling.com?
Yeah.
Is that what it is for sponsorships right now?
Correct.
So I told Josh he's in charge of that sponsorship if it opportunity arises. So
there's gonna be some haggling on that one.
my all my money has been going into NeoPro, so we'll make it happen though. We'll figure something out. We'll team it up and make it happen. The IW guy title defended on an AIW show. just those few people that like to run their mouths on Twitter that are haters, just to shut them up. I think that'd be really nice. That's the driving force behind a lot of what I do now.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Jayhawk, what do you got, brother?
What do you got, Jayhawk?
Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at RefJayhawk. My next booking is November 16th for Real Action Pro Wrestling in Youngstown, Ohio. Thanksgiving Throwdown 14, I think. So that's what I got.
Thanksgiving Throwdown 14.
That's like the 14th since they started actually going not doing just Tuesday, and actually started doing like big show. 14 years now.
Wasn't it a Thanksgiving Throwdown that you took that knee in the corner and got concussed?
Yeah, I will not mention the name of the guy who did that because he peaked crap.
Bury him.
Do it, Jayhawk. Do it. Bury him.
At the time, he was wrestling against Mike Green. He had a couple of names after that. And yeah, he caught me with the knee, and instead of hitting me in the chest like he said he would, he caught me right in the temple. And then he slammed me, and then he slammed my head to the mat like 3 times, trying to quote unquote wake me up. So Butter had to drive me home that night.
Yeah. I'm Charlie_Butters on Twitter. I don't have anything going on until NeoPro November 23rd. So
I do have one more booking to throw out there.
Okay.
The day after Black Friday, Saturday, Ohio Championship Wrestling, the what do they call it? The match after the big game. Okay. So just check out Ohio Championship Wrestling. It's a very family friendly wrestling company, unlike others. So
you should take a trip out with the Ohio boys for ETU. Come hang out with us at the Mecca in Richfield Park.
Let me tell you what, I did Mega last Saturday. It was a spur of the moment thing. The ring announcer canceled on them. They booked me like 11 o'clock in the morning. that hour and 10-minute drive, I'm like, why am I doing this? I do not drive anymore.
Hour and 10. I wish I was driving an hour and 10 sometimes. You know, that trip to Ohio is not short.
Yeah, but then you get to hang out with us, though. And that
Right.
makes it
Well,
all
that's why I
worthwhile.
do it. Sure.
Is right
All
around
right.
the corner when he goes to that bar that's right around the corner that's actually like 4 blocks away
Which one?
from the venue. That place we all went the last time for Hell on Earth.
Oh, that place blows.
Yeah, that place
Oh
was
my
awful.
God.
You're like, oh yeah, it's
Jeez.
right around the corner, and it was like,
blocks.
no, it was like a 10-minute drive.
Well, this year I'm sure we'll figure out some
I hope
place.
so.
Yeah. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at jgold12. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to us. And our Twitter handle, IWGuide1, patreon.com/IWGuide. Don't forget about the merch store over at Brainbuster Tees and Gorilla Press Apparel. Our buddy Will. Use code IWGP24 at checkout when you buy 2 or more items for $20 off your entire order. Listen to our podcast friends, our brand new network, the Main Event Wrestling Network. That stars the Wrestling Junkies and On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. I know there's more. I'll get that stuff from Kyle. I know they have more guys and more people doing what they're doing. So give a listen to that. At Odds with Wrestling, the card is going to change. The Super Fantastic Podcast, Marks with Mikes, and Hayabusa Speed. Check out our other friends. OKCR Creations, the official graphic designer of the Indie Wrestling Guide. Magnum CK's now that's what I call wrestling. Time Capsule Toys, Toy Hio, Rubber City Toys, Big Starks brand, Women's Wrestling Watch from Northeast Ohio, our buddy Will at Gorilla Press, and Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, the best barbecue in Ohio. That's all I got on this Pedro-centric night.
If you got all those sponsors, why don't you send them our way? Jeez.
Nobody's paying us.
Yeah,
We're
that's just
oh,
us
man.
being friends.
Pedro. We're all
Oh,
friends.
man. You don't say the name unless you're getting paid.
Yeah, that's why I'm not talking about what I'm drinking here tonight. All that they want to pay me, I'll give them all the fucking advertising they want.
Drinking one of those coconut Dr. Peppers.
That's
Coconut
strawberry
whoa, whoa,
cream,
whoa, whoa.
actually, but yeah.
Coconut
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, there's a new Dr. Pepper with coconut.
Man.
It was being discussed. Apparently, Danhausen and Effie and them were drinking it out in Hawaii. So
Oh, Hawaii gets all the cool stuff.
I'm sure we'll be getting it here too, because I think other people said that it exists. So if I see
You
it,
guys
I'll
get
grab you a bottle.
you get way better flavors on everything over by you. I get none of that good shit. I have to come out to you and then go shopping at all those stores to get good flavors of like Doritos and Taco Bell stuff and soda. I don't get any good soda flavors.
Why
by
don't
me.
you just get a summer property here in Ohio and just
one
take
day?
on vacation?
Yeah,
One day
I'll do
working
the
on that.
upkeep on it. You keep the
What's that
Uh,
island that Duke was telling me about that everybody goes out to in the summer and parties on? What's
Epstein
that?
Island.
The island that they all drink on. Come on.
Put in Bay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that place fun? Is there a reason? Can you get a house there?
I mean, people do live there.
Right.
I've literally gone there like once for like a day, and that was just because my brother's like, "Let's go to Put in Bay for the day." Okay.
Yeah. Well, very good, Butters. Very good.
Well,
live with that
I
one.
mean, with your connections, that's not out of the realm of possibility that you've been
Fucking
there.
idiot.
You just went there for the diving, right? You just went there
Right.
to dive. You didn't.
That's what I did.
The child trafficking was what ruined the whole thing, right?
It always does.
As Gorilla Press's new shirt says, "Life short, watch more indie wrestling." Everybody.
See you around.
Later.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide, and on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.